Hello everyone, welcome to my class. So here I am once again with a new learning lesson. So today our topic is letter writing, that is how to write a letter. But before that, let's see what is a letter. A letter is a written message that can be handwritten or printed on a paper. It is usually sent to the recipient via mail or post in an envelope. Any such message that is transferred via post is a letter. That means যে ধরনের মেসেজে আমরা পোস্ট করি না কেন, whether it's postal or a email writing, that is called a letter. The art of writing a letter was considered an important requirement for the advent of modern technology. Even today, a letter is an important means of communication in both the workplace as well as our personal lives. এখন যদিও টেকনোলজির কারণে সবাই বলে যে লেটার রাইটিংটা কমে গিয়েছে, আসলে কিন্তু তা নয়. Kinds of letters. There are broadly two kinds of letter, namely formal letters and informal one. There are also a few types of letter based on their contents, formalities, the purpose of letter writing, etc. Let us have a look at the few types of letter. Formal letter. These letters follow a certain pattern and formality, কিছু certain structure follow করে এটা. They are strictly kept professional in nature and directly address the issues concerned. Any type of business letter or letter to authorities falls within this given category. এটার আরেকটা নাম আছে যেটাকে বলা হয় business letter অথবা application writing. And another one is informal letter. These are personal letters. They need not follow any set of pattern or adhere to any formalities. They contain personal information or are a written conversation. Informal letters are generally written to friends, acquaintances, relatives, etc. যেটাকে আমরা নরমালি চিঠি বলে থাকি. সাপোজ বাবাকে চিঠি লেখা কিংবা পার্সোনাল কোনো যে আমার পরিচিত তাকে চিঠি লেখা. Business letter. This letter is written among business correspondence. এটাকে আমরা অফিসিয়াল লেটারও বলা যায়. One kind of generally contains commercial information such as quotations, orders, complaints, claims, letters for collections, etc. Such letters are always strictly formal and follow a structure and pattern of formalities. এবং এইসব লেটারে ফর্মালিটি অবশ্যই দরকার. Official letter. This type of letter is written to inform offices, branches, subordinates of official information. It usually relays official information like rules, regulations, procedures, events, or any other such information. Official letters are also formal in nature and follow certain structure and decorum. Social letter. A personal letter written on the occasion of a special event is known as a social letter. Congratulatory letter, condolence letter, invitation letter, etc. are all social letters. Even beer card কেও কিন্তু আমরা social letter এ ফেলতে পারি. Then circular letter. A letter that announces information to a large number of people is a circular letter. The same letter is circulated to a large group of people to correspond some important information like a change of address, change in management, the retirement of a partner, etc. Employment letter. Any letter with respect to the employment process like joining letter, promotion letter, application letter, etc. is called an employment letter. So this is how a letter should be written, especially the informal letter one. As you can see, informal letters are mainly used for personal communication. They do not have to follow any specific pattern, format or conventions. They can be written as per the writer's wishes and the requirement of the situation. Hence, the letter is written in a personal fashion in casual unassuming ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ. তার মানে এখানে তেমন কোনো প্যাটার্ন কিংবা স্ট্রাকচার ফলো করতে হয় না এবং এখানে আমি ইনফর্মাল ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজও ইউজ করতে পারি. As we discussed before, some things should be given in an informal letter. So what are those? Address. At first thing to write is your address, the address of the writer. We usually write the address on the left side of the page at the very top. The address should be accurate and complete. Even when writing to close friends or relatives, the address must be written so they can reply back to the letter with ease. If the recipient of the letter is in another country, do not forget to write your country as well as in the address. That means যদি আমি দেশের বাইরে চিঠি পাঠাই সেখানে আমার দেশের নামটা অবশ্যই মেনশন করতে হবে, date. Next, just below the address we should write the date. This allows the reader to have a reference as when the address was written. কখন এটা লেখা হয়েছে. He can then relate better to the contents of the letter. Greeting. Now since you know the person you are writing to, the greeting can be informal as well. যেহেতু আমি জানি আমি কাকে লিখছি, so greeting টা সেই ওয়াইজই যাবে. If it is a friend or someone close to your age, you can greet them by their first name like dear Alex. Or if you are writing to your relative like mother, father, aunt, etc., you may greet them such as, for example, dear mom. And if you are writing to an elder person, someone you respect greatly, you can address them as Mr. or Mrs. Like, say for example, you are writing a congratulatory letter to your teacher. It can be addressed as dear Mrs. Alex or dear madam or sir. Introduction paragraph. Now let's go to the main part, that means the detailed part of writing a letter. The introductory paragraph sets the tone for the whole letter. You might begin by asking the recipient about their well-being, that how are you, I'm fine. In that way you can start your writing. Then body of the letter. The letter overall should maintain a friendly tone as it is an informal one, but you have to adjust the language and the wordings according to who you are writing to. তার মানে আমাকে অবশ্যই কেয়ারফুল থাকতে হবে to whom I am writing. সেই ওয়াইজ আমার সেন্টেন্সটা যাবে, সেই ওয়াইজ আমার ওয়ার্ডিংস হবে. So here you can see a format of a formal letter. That is, a formal letter writing is undoubtedly one of the most challenging types of letter format. It's a kind of convincing letter to someone. When putting it together, often you are addressing a person or organization with whom you are not familiar with, and the quality of your content, including spelling, grammar, will be strongly scrutinized. That means আমার এখানে কোনো রকম ভুল করা যাবে না, as I'm writing the letter to the person whom I don't know much. So what should be included in a formal letter? At first, the sender's address. That means আমার address. আমি যদি কাউকে চিঠিটা লিখি, ফার্স্টে আমার অ্যাড্রেস লিখতে হবে. The sender's address usually is included in letterhead. If you are not using letterhead, include the sender's address at the top of the letter, one line above the date. ঠিক ডেটের উপরেই আমার এই অ্যাড্রেসটা আসবে. And after that, just like the informal one, we should write the date. এবং ডেটটা কিভাবে আসবে? The date line is used to indicate the date the letter was written. However, if your letter is completed over a number of days, use the date it was finished in the date line. That means যেদিন আমি শেষ করেছি সেদিনকার অ্যাড্রেসটা দেওয়া better. When writing to companies within the United States, use the American format. The United States based convention for formatting a date place the month before the date. For example, June 11, 2001. ফার্স্টে তারা মান্থ লেখে, তারপরে ডে, তারপরে আসে ইয়ার. Write out the month, day and year 2 inches from the top of the page. তার মানে আমি যেখানে লিখব তার থেকে 2 inches গ্যাপ রাখতে হবে. Depending which format you are using for letter, either left justify the date or tap to the center point and type the date. Inside address. The inside address is the recipient address. That means first আসলো sender's address, তারপরে আসলো date, and after that it comes the recipient's address. It is always best to write to a specific individual at the firm to which you are writing. অনেক সময় দেখা যায় যে আমরা যাকে লিখছি, সাপোজ একটা কোম্পানির ম্যানেজারকে, তাহলে আমরা লিখতে পারি টু দ্য ম্যানেজার ABC কোম্পানি, and then we can go for the date. অথবা যদি আমরা ওই পার্সনের নাম জানি তাহলে সেক্ষেত্রে ওটাও লেখা যায়, বাট বেশিরভাগ ক্ষেত্রে ফর্মাল লেটারে try to write the post of the person, not the name. Salutation. Use the same name as the inside address, including the person title. যেমন আমি বললাম যে মিস্টার অ্যালেক্স, তার নাম বলতে পারি, or আমরা বলতে পারি ডিয়ার স্যার or ম্যাডাম. In this way we can start our writing. Then comes the body part. For block and modified block format, single space and left justify each paragraph within the body of the letter. Leave a blank link between each paragraph. That means প্রত্যেকটা প্যারাগ্রাফ যারা সেপারেটলি বোঝা যায় এই জন্য আমাদের একটা ব্ল্যাঙ্ক স্পেস রেখে দেওয়া উচিত. When writing a business letter, be careful to remember that conciseness is very important. That means it should be very organized. In the first paragraph, consider a friendly opening and then a statement of the main point. Friendly opening হবে, but তারপরে আমাকে আমার মেইন কথাগুলো ব্যক্ত করতে হবে, লিখতে হবে, বলতে হবে. The next paragraph should begin justifying the importance of the main point. যে আমি জাস্টিফাই করছি যে কেন আমি ওই জিনিসটা লিখলাম, কেন কিংবা কেন ওই জিনিসটা আমি চাচ্ছি. In the next few paragraphs, continue justification with the background information and supporting details. The closing paragraph should restate the purpose of the letter. এবং লাস্টের যে লাইনটা আমি লিখব সেটা হবে আমার summary sentence of the whole letter. Closing. The closing begins at the same vertical point as your date and one line after the last body paragraph. Capitalize the first word only. For example, thank you. Thank you লিখলাম, thank you এর T টা হচ্ছে capital. And leave your lines between the closing and the sender. Same for a signature. এবং কিছু লাইন রাখতে হবে, নিচে আমার নামটা এবং পোস্ট অবশ্যই লিখব এবং মাঝে যে গ্যাপটা থাকবে সেটা আমি রেখে দিব to give my sign. Enclosures. If you have enclosed any documents along with the letter, such as a resume, you indicate this simply by typing enclosures one line below the closing. That means closing এর পরে আমি কি ওটার সাথে অ্যাটাচ করলাম সেগুলো আমি লিখে দিতে পারি. 1 CV, 2 passport size photographs, 3 bank draft. In this way you can write the list. Format and font. Block format. When writing business letters, you must pay special attention to the format and font used. The most common layout of a business letter is known as a block format. Using this format, the entire letter is left justified and single spaced except for a double space between paragraphs. Font. The general accepted font is Times New Roman size 12, although other font size as Arial may be used, but basically Times New Roman টাই use করা উচিত. When choosing a font, always consider your audience. সবসময় আমাদের জেনে রাখা উচিত আমরা কাকে লিখছি এবং তারা আমার কাছে কি চায়, সেই ওয়াইজে আসলে ফর্মাল লেটারটা লেখা better. If you are writing to a conservative company, you may want to use Times New Roman. However, if you are writing to a more liberal company, you have a little more freedom when choosing the fonts. Then punctuation. Punctuation after the salutation and closing, use a colon, or after the salutation never use a comma or add a comma after the closing. In some circumstances you may also use a less common format known as the open punctuation. For this style, punctuation is excluded after the salutation and the closing. Now some do's. Specifically ask for support of your position. Address you legislator properly. Write legibly. That means handwritten letters are fine if they are easily readable. আমি হাতে তখনই লিখব যখন আমার হাতের লেখা ভালো হবে. Be brief. খুবই শর্ট, যতটুকু পারি ওভাবে লেটারটা লেখা উচিত. To the point and discuss only one issue in each letter. Try to identify a bill by number and or a title. Know the facts. Do not try to influence a legislator before you have a complete understanding of the issue. If possible, give an example of how the legislation will affect you personally. If you are writing as an individual, use you one words and your own stationery. If you are writing as an organization, use the organization's stationery. যদি আমি কোনো অর্গানাইজেশন কোনো অফিসের হয়ে লিখি তাহলে আমি তাদের ম্যাটেরিয়াল তাদের জিনিসপত্র ইউজ করে দেন লেটারটা লিখব, আর যদি নিজের জন্য লিখি তাহলে আমার নিজের জিনিস ব্যবহার করব. Include your address and sign your name legibly. If you have any family, business or political connection regarding the issue you are writing about it, explain it. Ask the legislator to state his or her position in their reply. Ask your legislator if they prefer to be contacted by fax, email, phone or letter. Some don'ts. Do not send a postcard. Do not sign and send a form letter. Do not begin on a write yes note. Legislators know you pay taxes and are a citizen. তারা already জানে. Do not apologize for writing and taking their time. If your letter is short and clearly expresses your opinion, they are happy to give it some consideration. Do not be rude or threatening. Do not send a copy of your letter to other legislators. Write each one individually. একটাই সবাইকে পাঠানোর দরকার নেই, প্রত্যেকের জন্য আলাদা আলাদা করে চিঠি লেখা উচিত। That's all for today. Thank you so much.